Greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of the Sportz Krib. Uh, it's amazing this weather. Last week it was 83, and tonight it's about 68. But hey, I digress. Anyway, welcome to the Sportz Krib. I see my two guys are in here. Bo, how's the weather up there in Seattle?
It is beautiful and sunny, man. It is. It was a great day for the championship parade.
You took away our sunshine down here, but that's okay. It only rains down here every once in a while, so that's
Well,
all
I
right.
mean, we also took the trophy from down there, so that works out.
There you go. There you go. Dave, how are you doing this evening?
All right. Well, congratulations, Bo. You didn't sound optimistic at the beginning of the season, but man, they put on a great season.
Yeah, no. At the beginning of the year, I was thinking it was a 10-win divisional round exit. Like that's kind of what I was thinking. So
Yeah.
I was happy.
I got it on record, Bo. I got it on record. 10 what was it? 10-6. Suspicions about Sam. Now
Yeah.
he almost gets MVP. I think didn't you call out the defense too? Maybe it was you that called that defense out, wasn't it?
Yep. I said the defense would be good, and the offense I was unsure about because there were so many new pieces, and defense showed out. But hey, how about Sam? You know, he dispelled all of the negativity that was being thrust his way, and so you got to be happy for the guy.
Yeah. We'll talk about that because I was actually a little surprised, even though Kenny did his thing, but I did think that Sam, because of the story,
Yep.
Might have taken it, but I wasn't displeased with either one being MVP.
Sam just didn't have enough numbers to be the MVP. It's also why Russ didn't win it. He also had kind of similar numbers in a defensive beatdown of a Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, you can't throw for a couple hundred yards and win the MVP. Like you got to, like if you run for a couple hundred yards, sure. But if you're passing for a couple hundred yards, it's not impressive.
Yeah. I'm actually like I got a three bet parlay on Seattle.
Okay.
And I'm running down the field with Martin, and then I see the flag. And yeah, it was. He had to get a touchdown for me. He went over the 150 yards. That was fine. But I just couldn't see him going over that without scoring at least once, which was my downfall. But hey,
yeah, it was funny in the pregame or in like the weeks leading up to it. One of the guys I said was going to be a key element of this was AJ Barner, because JSN was going to be locked up, which he was, but I thought they were going to contain Walker way better than they did. Walker having the day he did was a surprise to me. I thought he was going to have roughly 60 to 70 yards. And he had that in 2 runs on that one drive. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that prediction's out the window. But Barner had some very key catches in this game, one for a touchdown.
Barner was my touchdown. Barner was all I needed was Barner, and I needed Martin to just score a touchdown. And I'm running.
You could almost taste the money.
Yeah.
It's that old guy in that commercial with the
yeah.
almost had it.
And it was my birthday week. Last Wednesday I turned 79. So my old ass is running with the TV. I know. If we had Saturday cartoons, it would have been hilarious. I think Dave, you bet the Pats, didn't you?
I
You
did.
so Reggie had to automatically win, right?
No. Reggie took New Orleans, or he took New England in the over, and so did I. So it came down to the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay.
We
Okay.
both took the Patriots in the over, and we were both wrong. So it came down to the number of yards passing for the winning quarterback. So that was Sam Darnold. He had 202 yards passing, right? And Reggie had predicted 247, and I predicted 230.
Oh, you guys were close.
So you win.
I think so, yeah, because the next closest, you were the next closest, James, but you had 12 points through the playoffs, and Reggie and I were tied at 14 apiece.
Yeah.
But you did predict 215. You were closer on the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Because I thought it was going to be a Walker game. This was a season that was kind of new for me too, especially the second half, because usually, like I said, it's usually like Bijan in Atlanta. You run it down to the 2, and then you give it to Charbonnet, and he takes it in.
Sure.
You know? But this year, Charbonnet got hurt. And Martin, you kind of showed out. It was just a whole different ball game there.
Well, one of the things, in Seattle did it before, but what they demonstrated, and the reason neither quarterback is the most valuable player, is that they did it with defense in the running game. And so many people say that in the modern football, you have to have this top 5 quarterback in order to win. Well, Seattle just and Russell Wilson wasn't a top 5 quarterback when they won before.
No, it was his second.
He was good, but and so Seattle again has shown that you can win with defense and a solid running game, and really it was the trenches because May was hurt, and it was Sue and my son Nick. They were watching the game. They were keeping me posted, but May was hurt. But even if he was 100% healthy, I don't think it would have made a difference because Seattle dominated the trenches that much.
Gonzalez stopped 4 touchdowns by himself. I mean, it
could have been a blowout.
Yeah. So, and he was the guy, that I've been watching because I think that was the year I think that the Patriots took him 1 or 2 picks before the Steelers. I'm trying to think of what, but I know they picked him just before it was our pick, and I was, and that was the year that we needed a cornerback too. I was hoping that we'd get Gonzalez, but I forget who we ended up taking. Yeah. Do we possibly have a Sue's Corner tonight?
We do, because in addition to watching the Super Bowl with Nick, she's also been watching the Olympics pretty much nonstop. So,
okay.
This is a short one. Last week was your birthday. Today is Sue's birthday. She's celebrating her big 7-0.
Oh my goodness! Okay, tell me you have to wish her happy birthday for me.
But she wasn't going to miss a Sue's Corner for you, James. She had to get it in. So it's a short one, but it's a good one. So Sue's Corner, still back to the Olympics. Of the many good stories coming out of the Olympics, one of my favorites this week is the tale of Philippe Raimund, a German ski jumper. Philippe unexpectedly won the gold medal this week. He wasn't really ranked high, but the favorites had faulty jumps and the conditions weren't perfect. He never even won a World Cup event. But that's not what made it unexpected. What's even more surprising about this is that Philippe is afraid of heights.
Oh,
He pulled out of a World Cup event in March of 2025, citing a fear of heights that was affecting his physical performance. And this is Raymond, according to Raymond, as some of you may know, I am scared of heights. And he wrote this on Instagram in German at the time. I usually have it under control, and it usually isn't a problem while ski jumping. But from time to time, I have the issue, mainly while ski flying, that my body is reacting without me controlling it. But he had no issue that night. He flew 106.5 meters, flying at 60 miles an hour down a long curved ramp and landed with a scream to a German crowd going wild at this unexpected gold medal win. The Olympic ski jump tower in Milan is over 50 meters. That's over 164 feet tall. Just climbing to the top of one, if you were afraid of heights, would be a challenge. And for these guys, they have to do it twice. So it's just not that he can gut it through one time. You got to go back up and do it again.
I can't imagine if you're afraid of heights. Yeah, the climb up there would be something else. Imagine just jumping off to ski down this ramp to then float through the air. Like,
Exactly.
0 times ever.
let alone throwing yourself down a ramp at 60 miles an hour and flying in the air, Bo. That is a true case of mind over matter.
No
And
question.
Stu ends it with Herzlichen Glückwunsch, which is heartfelt congratulations, Philippe. So Sue snuck in some German on me, but
Right on.
that's Sue's corner for tonight. But yeah, I mean, and for me, it wouldn't, like, the first time, okay. But now you got to go back up and face those fears again for a second time.
You haven't even thought about landing on two little pieces of nylon,
thing, right?
Like, you have to land on these things. You know,
like you're out there playing flying squirrel and hoping for the best. I mean, the only way with that would work is if you did happen to land it the first time. Because if you just ate it hard on the first time, you might be like, hey, you know what? Turns out water polo seems awesome.
Well, see, all these other higher ranked people, they were blowing their jumps, and he landed his perfectly. So
I mean, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's incredible mental fortitude to do that, because I don't think I would do that.
That and what's the downhill? Those are two that I have on two little pieces of wood or nylon or plastic, whatever you decide. Yeah.
Sue was saying before, she was disappointed. She was talking to some of her friends, childhood friends, and they're disappointed that their parents didn't get them into curling.
See, that's the thing.
That you could do.
Yeah, right. Like, in fact, so I've done curling. We went. A buddy. I didn't even know we had a curling club here in Seattle, but we do. I must have driven by the thing 5 million times. Had no idea it was even there. And so a buddy of mine decided he wanted to do it for his birthday. And I was like, oh, that sounds funny, you know, whatever. And then he's like, oh, this is where it is. I was like, oh, like, we're doing this. Oh, okay, cool. And it was actually a blast. So if you have it in your city, go check it out. It is a ton of fun. And then, you know, what other Olympic sport could you be like, oh, here, let me just set my beer down real quick and play some life-size shuffleboard. And awesome. It's awesome.
Well, the American team, they're out of a bar in Massachusetts, I think.
Yeah, which makes totally, when you look at them, you're like, yeah, this is out of a bar in Massachusetts.
What do they call the big thing, Bo, that they push down and you guys be sweeping in front of?
It's literally just called a rock.
That's what it's called, a rock?
Yeah, it's just a rock, which is aptly named because it's a piece of granite. And then, yeah, you got your squeegee out there and you're clearing the path. And, you know, they actually have these little things that snap over your shoes. So it's actually not as slippery as you would imagine. The first time you try and do that slide, though, you're probably not staying upright. But you're basically basically kneeling, so it's not like it's a hard fall. But I highly recommend it. It's actually not that expensive to do. Most cities have it. Definitely check it out. It's fun.
Yeah. There's a couple people. David Simons says how's it going, chat? And Candy Castellan, hey guys. Gino Phillips, good evening. And Feather Freebird says hello, guys.
Feather is my mom. It is her birthday today. Happy birthday.
So you had the same birthday as Sue. Happy birthday, Mom.
Yeah, all right.
Cool.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. A lot of good people I know in February, especially one, but anyway. Now there's been some interesting developments here in the NCAA. We had the Big Ten. They call themselves. It's called the Student Athletic Issues Commission, and they say that they want the NCAA president Charles Barker and the NCAA to ban prop bets on players. Bo, the betting bag is out of the box. How do you I mean, okay, so we'll only bet on Saturday. You can't bet on, like after 3:00 on Wednesday. If there's a full moon, you can't. I mean, how are you going to put this back in the box?
You can't. You can't. That is the problem with the way the NCAA does everything. Is they are so reactionary that they don't actually have any foresight when they do stuff. So when it came to the NIL and the transfer portal, they're just like, you can. And then they're like, oh, this isn't going how we thought. It's like, how did you think it was going to go? You gave us no guardrails, no path. You're just like, figure it out. And then when it doesn't go smoothly, you're just like, gee, I wonder why. That'd be like buying some really complicated piece of furniture. And they're like, well, here's a bag of parts. Hope you can figure out how to put it together. Like, you're probably not getting the table you wanted to build, right? You need some guidelines as to how this thing goes together. And the NCAA just has a history of not doing it. So unfortunately, if they would have had some kind of path for this to work when they first did it, cool. They didn't. So for them to try and correct it now, it's not going to happen from the NCAA side. It's going to happen from basically either a Congress regulation knocking it out or something like that. I mean, when it comes to gambling, paying the players, all of this stuff, the NCAA just was not proactive enough. And now it's in everyone else's court. So it's either going to have to be regulation from courts or whatever, but I don't see a way that they can stop it.
What do you think there, Dave?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Bo is saying. And then actually Baker from NCAA, he's already been approaching the state agencies because gambling, it's not that it's unregulated. It is regulated. Yeah. And a lot of those regulations are through the states. Mm-hmm. And so I think Baker had already reached out to some, and the Big Ten is basically giving him some ammunition. And one of their big things is that the prop bets are putting these kids, 18, 19 years old, directly at the center of gambling outcomes. And the problem with that is now you got young athletes getting threats. You have people showing up at games behind their bench, yelling stuff at them. And so it's kind of putting a lot of pressure, and it's really hard for these young kids. And so, but I think Bo's exactly right. The NCAA can't do anything about it. It's going to have to be legislated either through Congress or through the state regulatory agencies. So like at one point, offshore betting poker was legal, where they had the ships right offshore, and then online you could play poker for money.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
all of a sudden that got shut off. So it can be done, especially if they demonstrate that these young athletes are getting, threats, and it's causing adverse outcomes to the games.
Yeah,
Because if all of a sudden you find more and more of these setups, which we've already found in basketball, we found in baseball, um, college sports is just next because that's a fertile ground to make money.
yeah, it's a little less of a problem, I guess, here in states like Washington, because sports gambling is not legal unless you're on a reservation. So the state doesn't allow gambling. Apparently, drugs are fine, but gambling that's where they draw the line. I don't know.
good, good evening, Mr. Scott. How are you this evening?
Very good, gentlemen. Oh, what a wonderful surprise! What a wonderful gift to see Bo. Oh my goodness, this is one of the things, and the first thing I wanted to say though, I've read an article where it says something about Seattle knew the plays, and so there was something about. I mean, I'm not saying that. Don't blame me. This is something that I read, that Seattle somehow got a hold of their playbook and that they knew what was. So, but anyway, I want to congratulate Bo. It's a great win. The theft of Sam Darnold to your, and it was a classic. It was a very classic game in that defense. When you look at a lot of the real Super Bowls with the Pittsburghs and those defenses, and as long as they don't turn it over and then hold them down and get a big play here and there, game over. So, but the thing is, I fell asleep and I didn't wake up until the third quarter, and New England had done nothing. I mean, they had absolutely done nothing. So I didn't see the halftime. I didn't see any of that. I woke up and the game really didn't start till the middle of the third quarter. Really, that's the way it looked. But no, congratulations, Bo. With all sincerity, it's all with sincerity, Bo. It's all with sincerity.
Yeah, no. It was good. It was good. It was it was cool being down there for the parade and stuff today.
Wow.
So that was. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a cool thing. They did the trophy presentation and all of that, and then from within the stadium, they loaded up all the players onto the cars to then go hit the parade route. So that was pretty cool. They didn't hang the banner. They saved that for next year when probably the Rams will be the first one that comes to town. They'll hang the banner then.
Nice.
Rub it in. Yeah,
exactly right. Or no, actually, you know what? I guess we're going to have the home game against the Patriots to start the season off on Thursday, so they'll probably hang the banner for that. But
yeah.
The year the Vikings lost to Kansas City, they played them the next year, the first game at Met Stadium, and the Vikings ran them out of the stadium.
Yep.
So sometimes it's your day, and sometimes it's the other day.
Yeah.
And it's Bo's day now. So I mean, everything.
Bo's Day. I like that, Bo's Day.
I like it. I'm a fan. Hey, if it means my team won a championship, I will take it. It's funny though, because now the tear down of your team happens, right? So, I mean, it's almost the next day, and our OC is, there with Vegas. He flew back today specifically just for the parade. He flies back to Vegas tonight. And then the league year is the end of next week?
Yeah.
End of this week, something like that. Yeah. And so then it's you're on to next year. You don't get to enjoy it very long.
Well, you get Disneyland. You know, I mean, you go to Disneyland. I guess they still do that, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, it was funny. There was a video of Darnold and Walker in the teacups.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty funny. Pretty funny.
So, Bo, the LA Bowl is closed after just 5 seasons. I know a lot of us probably never even heard of it. I can't remember too much about
And
it.
rightfully so.
Do you see more of these gimme bowls or what? Charity donations, whatever the hell they are. I mean, do you see more of these closing down?
Yes, absolutely. There's 2 of them that shut down this year. LA Bowl was one. I forget what the other one was offhand.
Bahamas Bowl and the Game Above Sportz Bowl. That was
okay, so I didn't know about the third one, but you're right. It was the other one. I knew those 2 closed. And yeah, you're going to start seeing these go away because there's so many of these bowl games that are now being played by under 500 teams because teams that deserve to be there, deserved is putting it liberally, I guess. If you get 6 wins, you're able to get into one, right? But because so many of those teams are declining to go to them now, you're starting to end up with like 5-win teams getting in. And I would bet that those things start to go away, especially when they go and expand your playoff again, right? They're not expanding it this year, but next year they think that they might do that, extra 2 teams. So if that's the case, I think these just like ancillary random bowl games probably do start polling because nobody's watching them. So.
Yeah, that if you got a bowl game, you got to have an audience, I think. But what about this Mountain West and Pac? I mean, what is there any solution out there at all?
I'm just here to watch the dumpster fire. The Pac-12 is the state conference now. It's like everybody's state team is now in the Pac-12.
Yeah. I called it the prison conference.
Right. And then you have the Mountain West. They do have a nice addition coming to them in North Dakota State.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah. So only their football team. So the rest of the school is going to stick with the conference they're in, but that particular team is going to go to the Mountain West. And does it elevate the Mountain West? Maybe not. But it is going to be a more competitive conference for North Dakota State. So that is a very cool thing.
They've been coming on, North Dakota State. They've been coming on. North Dakota State in particular. They've been coming on. They've been sending guys to the NFL. So
couple quarterbacks. Yeah. So, Dave, what do you think about Kubiak going to the Raiders and inheriting Mendoza? You think that's going to be a good fit or what?
It sure sounds like it. I was reading somewhere where Mendoza actually was watching some of the film, and he was saying, "Hey, Mendoza was saying that, hey, he loves his style, so maybe that fits in." And what I like is Belichick, Brady, Noel Bradshaw, Cowher and Tomlin, Roethlisberger. And so, you get these coaches together with the quarterback, and we might just be seeing the match made in heaven over there. And the Raiders have been really, really hurting. But maybe this will be the cornerstone of the franchise turning around. I mean, if Kubiak proves himself as a head coach and can develop Mendoza, and Mendoza proves his worth as a number one pick. So I think it's a fun thing to watch. I think it'll be cool to see how this develops.
What do you think about that, Mr. Scott?
Yeah, the Raiders need to come back, but I still kind of go back to the Super Bowl and looking at Drake May and all of the accolades and things, but he really looked like almost like a JJ McCarthy, in that he looked like a young guy that just, when he went against men, when he went against, I mean, you could see it right away. It's like he couldn't really figure out the defense. He couldn't really. So the quarterback thing, it's just so interesting with Darnold, being called a bust, being called this and being a number one and bouncing around. Was he on 5 teams, 4 or 5 teams before he came to the, and so that, I mean, to me, I just don't think you're going to come right in there. And I don't care who you get, there's going to be a quarterback that's going to be Dan Marino or somebody. It just seems like it's best to let him maybe sit on the bench for a while and watch somebody that's, that has done it before, and kind of get a feel for the speed of the game. I mean, that's what seems to really get some of the younger guys that I saw. And I'm not an expert. I mean, nobody can take, I just watched the game. I played a little bit, high school, a couple of downs in college, but that's what I see, So the Raiders got a way to go. I think they got a good coach now. I mean, why they hired the fossilized guy from, your town, Seattle. I still don't understand that hire, but
back-to-back Seattle hires, actually.
Yeah, because Kubiak is a Seattle hire too. But what do you think about that? One of the reasons supposedly why the Steelers didn't go after what's his name from the Rams?
Kubiak?
No, the Steelers. Saban. Wasn't it Saban from the Rams?
From the Rams?
Yeah. Who is
LaFleur?
Shula.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was one of the knocks that the Steelers gave for not hiring Shula, was because he didn't have a quarterback experience. What did you think about that Kubiak hire?
I mean, it's actually a great hire for the Raiders when you really think about it. I mean, they have arguably the most cap space in the league to play with. They have 11 picks. They have, the number one pick, right? So that's huge. You have an offensive-minded guy in Kubiak. You have nice pieces all over that roster. You have Crosby, right? And, he dispelled the rumors that he wanted out on Colin Cowherd's show, The Herd. It was either a couple days ago, I believe. And, they have two good tight ends. They have a good running back. So if they can use some of that stuff to shore up that offensive line, they still have Geno, right? So if you go get that number one quarterback, you don't need Geno to be amazing. You need him to mentor the kid. And they have an ownership group that knows that this is going to take a couple of years to turn around. And in that amount of time, you're going to have a KC that is aging out. You're going to have a Broncos team that's going to have to start paying people. You have a Chargers team that we never know what the hell they're doing. And so, it can be inside of 2 years, a competitive team within the division. I'm not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl favorite or anything like that, but they could be a competitive team in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Dave, I kind of tailored this next question especially for you, because I know how big a fan you are of an extended season, and players having those extra games. So the NFL is going to have its first game in Melbourne, Australia. We now have, let's see, we got 9 international games in 4 continents, 7 countries, and 8 stadiums. Dave, show me the money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is, and there's also talk. The one NFL insider was saying, "Hey, we may see 18 games as soon as 2027." Now, the NFLPA has said, "Well, we're not we're not enthusiastic about it," but that's a negotiation point. If they're given enough, they'll go to 18 games, and. And with the international games, I mean, I've flown to Melbourne or to Sydney before, and I tell you what, it's brutal. And I was flying from the East Coast, but even if you fly from the West Coast, that's a brutal flight. And then for these guys that try to play the next week, they're going to be jet lagged, unless they have buys.
That's my guess. They're going to have a bye week afterwards.
Well, they didn't do it this year, right? We had one team. Was it the Vikings going back to back?
Yeah, and that's what I say. That's what ruined their season. I really say that. Those 2 straight weeks where they were overseas, even though they got a bye when they got back, I just think that. And then if you go to 18 games, so then you don't have any preseason games then.
Well, you'd still have 2, but
it won't really be much of anything. I mean, so then you're looking at 20 games. If you're
going overseas, though, wouldn't you if you're going to have an overseas? Wouldn't it make sense to be there 2 weeks in a row?
Because I think in the case of who really got hurt was Cleveland.
Yeah,
because they had to fly over, play Minnesota and London, and then they flew back for an away game because the London game, I think, was Cleveland's home game. And then they went back to play an away game. And so they kind of got shafted.
And that's where I didn't mind it for the Vikings or the Jags. The Jags have had 2 games there a bunch of times, right? And so where you have a home and an away game there, but because you're there for 2 weeks, you kind of get adapted to it. And then you end up coming home to a bye week. So you can get reaccustomed to the time zone change.
But you're traveling over there. You're not playing in the same city. You're leaving there and going to another foreign city.
Yeah.
It's not like you're staying there and doing it. So
that's different.
That might be part of negotiations also,
Well, Europe is just geographically smaller.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
So when you're going from one city to the next, and although it's a different country, a lot of those countries, a lot of those cities within those countries are closer together than us traveling state to state.
Right. It's almost like Minneapolis to Chicago.
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah.
But what's going to be brutal is going to Australia. That is going to be
rough.
Brutal.
That's rough. And it couldn't happen to a better couple of division mates.
I did an informal poll on X, and I asked, many say expanding the NFL season to 18 games is inevitable as early as 2027. What is the ideal length of an NFL season? So 0% said 20 or more. 20% said 18 games is the way to go. 24% said keep it at 17 games. And 56% said 16 games was perfect. Now, it's a really small number, but it's still, I think the problem that I see is that they're sacrificing competitive parity for marketing and money is what it comes down to. Well, and it's unfortunate, I think.
And going back to 16 games, you can forget that. That's another genie that's out of the bottle.
I sent Art Rooney II a letter asking him to asking him to champion that cause. And now, I mean, that said, I went to the Dublin game, the Steelers, and I was skeptical about the international games, but I had a fantastic time. And if the Steelers play again overseas, I'm going to go. So I guess I'm a hypocrite. But
I mean, it's been a great program for the NFL. The international series has been really good for it. You've seen that it's been good in just the world acceptance of the league, in viewership worldwide. I mean, it's been great in that way. Moving to 17 games, I wasn't a huge fan, but if you're going to start having us be overseas anyway, that doesn't take away from what you'd normally have as home games. Who cares if you take an away game, right? Doesn't matter. So, or if it was the extra home game, depending on the year, you still get your standard amount of home games that you've always had. So, I mean, that's the way I always looked at it, is the international series is great for the league, a little bit of a bummer for the fans that are local if you're losing a home game, right?
yeah, but they are building a fan base overseas, because one of my takeaways when I went to Dublin were the number of Steeler fans I met from Germany, from England, from Italy, and they weren't Americans that were living in Europe. These were Italians and Germans and England. This one girl from England, she was there with her husband. They've become Pittsburgh sports nuts. He proposed to her at a game in Pittsburgh.
Oh,
and they're
awesome.
English. I mean, that kind of opened my eyes a little bit.
Well, and I mean, Germany specifically has a ton of Seahawks fans, because when they started getting the televised games for Germany, it was when right around 2012, 2013, right? Which is when the Seahawks started, their rise with Russell Wilson. And, just like any foreign or just any fan base, right? When you start out, you become a fan of either your local team or the one you can see. Right.
Right.
So that's why there's so many Jaguar fans in the London area, because they're there all the time. So,
well, you can't leave out.
He was considering moving the team there. Where he put out trial balloons talking about, what would happen if the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Scott, there's talk of Derek Carr coming back. Has the NFL come down to this? Derek Carr, Aaron. I mean, who's next? Maybe Tom. No, he's got contract problems. Tom probably couldn't do that.
Yeah, Carr might even be a Viking.
Would he?
Just rubbing it in, aren't you? You're just reveling in the wind. I
do think you actually probably end up with Cousins. I think Cousins comes back.
Why are they wishing all these things on the Vikings? I mean, I don't. What they did bring back. What was the guy they brought back? What is his name? He was with Philadelphia and he got hurt. He played with the bad shoulder.
It's not Donovan McNabb.
No. This was just this year.
Oh, this year.
It was a lot.
They got hurt. They brought a guy. I don't know why I can't think of his name, but he was a number one pick of Philadelphia. He bounced around, and then they got him back, and then they played him when he was totally damaged in a game. Oh, God, what was that guy's name? And if he hadn't got hurt, they might actually have made the playoffs, because they lost the game with Green Bay, where they had the game won. They kicked it off, and they let the guy run it almost all the way back with about a minute left. God, what was that guy's name? He played with the Vikings till he got hurt.
Oh, the running back.
Carson Wentz.
Oh, yeah.
Carson Wentz.
I forgot Carson Wentz was there for a minute.
Yeah,
he was, and he was doing okay. And he had to go overseas and do all this foolishness over there and learning plays. And that's what I'm saying. I really think that ruined their season, because they were 9-8. And if football does their playoffs like basketball does, teams that don't even make 500 would not be in the playoffs, even though they won their division, because the whole division is lousy. So they shouldn't be there anyway. But if they did it like basketball, where you go by your records, Vikings would have still been in the playoffs at 9-8. And I know, Bo, you don't want to hear this about shoulda, woulda, and all. I know, Bo. You say, held up your banner and all this,
No. That was
glee.
me.
You have such glee, So
that was me just giving you
What
that
banner is
time.
that, Bo? What banner is he talking about, Bo?
What's that?
What banner is he talking about?
Oh, you didn't see it? They were giving them away at the parade.
That one. That okay.
So what do you think about Derek
They
Carr,
gave me some
Mr.
extra ones, so maybe I should mail you one. Should have had Sam Darnold sign it or something.
So what do you think about Derek Carr coming back, Mr. Scott?
That's an interesting thing, because I'm not sure how old he is. He sat out a year. So
34 or 35.
I think
he's on the
He's a
younger
youngin'.
side. He's on the younger side. He should be healthy, having sat out. I would not be opposed to that. But see, now I'm hearing that they're going to move Jefferson, because he's been a good soldier up until this time. But they're talking about maybe he goes to Buffalo, where he has a real quarterback. I don't know. I don't know. But there's, you're always going to hear these kind of rumblings now.
Did you hear what they want to give him for him? Because it has to be a haul.
Yeah, also has a lot of draft choices. It's a lot of
Well, I mean, Josh Allen. I mean, Buffalo's approaching a.
Yeah,
they changed coaches.
Or die time for them. Yeah.
If they got rid of the coach, who's next. So.
Carr, I hadn't thought of that. Is there rumblings of him coming back? Has anybody heard about that?
There's a really good chance he comes back. They say his shoulder is performing very well.
Wow.
So now New Orleans still has the rights, so you'd have to trade for him, but you wouldn't have to pay him much, right? Because this is going to be a prove-it deal to come back, and that's where a team like the Vikings does make some sense, because he brings some stability at the quarterback position and allows you to try and get JJ McCarthy up to speed, right? You don't necessarily need the long-term guy if you still think JJ McCarthy's your guy, and
which is questionable, but
it's questionable for sure. But Cousins wouldn't be that guy either, right? Cousins 38.
Yeah.
So you're looking for, if you're keeping JJ or Justin Jefferson rather, if you're keeping him, the rest of your roster's ready to win now. And JJ McCarthy doesn't look like he is. So you're going to want a guy that can be the adult in the room and lead that thing. They don't have to be elite. That team's good. You just need a quarterback that can play the position. And JJ McCarthy hasn't shown us he can consistently do that yet.
Yeah, good defense, very good defense. I mean, I hadn't heard about that. I'll have to look into that a little bit more. And
Joe Flacco was even talking about maybe he'd go to Pittsburgh. He could play for all four teams. Maybe.
See, I was being serious, and then
that's what Flacco said. That's not what I said.
I'd like him to go to Pittsburgh.
Well, since we're bringing fantasy into this day, the mock drafts say that Pittsburgh are going to be taking a quarterback in round 3. But there are others that say that Pittsburgh is going to take Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at number 21. What
you think Ty Simpson's going to last to 21?
I'm just saying, hey,
well, they have the draft capital to trade up. How far they can trade up, I don't know, but I think, I mean, for me, it's a little early. on the mock drafts. First they got to get through the free agency, see who are they retaining, what holes are they going to have, and I think right now, they need to build up the roster. So to my mind, they need a wide receiver, they need another cornerback, a CB, and so for that first round pick, I think firstly, let's get through the free agency and see, where the glaring gaps are. And then, they're talking about Aaron Rodgers coming back. There's a lot of smoke going on about that. And
Hopefully,
and then
it's
they have Will Howard on the roster. So here's the thing, if the scouts in Pittsburgh, if they have this Alabama quarterback rated that high, and if he's available, well, then grab him. But it all depends. It doesn't matter what the pundits say or what all the mock draft people say. It's what is the personnel department in Pittsburgh? How do they evaluate? Now, they misevaluated Kenny Pickett, so there's that. But I you got to trust your scouting staff. And one of the things that Omar Khan has done since he's taken over is they've had quite a bit of turnover in the scouting department. So if they haven't rated that high, well then you'll probably see them trying to trade up to grab him if he's not going to drop to 21. But I think realistically, they're probably going to sign somebody like an Aaron Rodgers if they can get him back, see what they have in Will Howard, and probably draft a wide receiver or a CB with their first round pick.
So Rodgers is definitely
it's very early. I mean, what's that?
No, Rodgers is definitely going to play again. Is that
no? He's no decision's been made. I mean, one of the things that Rodgers made clear is that he was not going to make an emotional decision. He was going to think it through. Pittsburgh has been very patient.
He's going to drag his feet until like a week before the season starts. Yeah, we know. We've seen this movie before.
Yeah.
I don't know that Pittsburgh would wait that. They need to find out before the draft, because that's another thing that could impact them. So if they don't have Rodgers, because they're not going to start the season with Will Howard or Mason Rudolph at quarterback.
I mean, the thing is,
it's either they find somebody else if Rodgers either prices himself out or can't make a decision, unless they find somebody that they really have rated very highly that's within reach.
So
but, a lot of people say that the only real first round quarterback is Mendoza.
Well, no, I mean, the only two first rounders are why am I mind blanking? We just said his name.
Mendoza's
Alabama.
Yeah, well, Mendoza's going one. Like that's almost a foregone conclusion. Why am I mind blanking? The other kid.
Simpson?
Yeah, Ty Simpson. Thank you. I don't know why I was mind blanking that all of a sudden, but he's the only other first round prospect. Everybody else is like a third or later at best. So, and the kid Moore went back to Oregon, so he's not even coming into the draft. So you only have two real viable quarterbacks. Everybody else is a huge question mark. So I don't see the Steelers having a real shot at one of those two guys.
They probably can't if they're going to go in the first four rounds, because Mendoza is going to be one.
Yeah,
you have enough teams that are in a position to draft them four, and I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to reach them.
Exactly.
He would have to be like 6 to 8 somewhere in there, and they might have a shot at it. But they have to give up a lot of picks. So they do.
They're saying he could go 2. So if he goes as high as the second pick, then I mean the Steelers aren't going to give up what would be required to go do that.
No,
and you shouldn't, because your team isn't close enough to be like, hey, we're a young quarterback away from making this happen. Like You guys have so many other needs. There's no way you're giving up that draft capital to move up the draft board to get a guy that's a question mark, right? I mean, because neither one of these guys that are coming out are guys that you look at and you're like, oh yeah, this guy's ready to go today, right? You look at both these guys and you're like, yeah, they'd probably benefit from sitting a year. So you're not going to trade up, give up a ton of draft picks for a guy that isn't going to play right away anyway. Like if you're saying, hey, Rodgers is our guy, then the draft picks you do have, it's like, okay, you know what? How about we fix this offensive line? We maybe get a second receiver, attack some free agency to help this defense out, dump some of the expensive guys that are underperforming. Like, I can't imagine you'd mortgage the future on I think he can be good at some point.
No,
but it's very interesting. It's very interesting though how Dave. He didn't want ayahuasca.
No, I didn't want ayahuasca. Don't bring it on. Don't blame that on James. Don't blame that on Dave. That was me, and I still don't want him.
They were putting.
I still don't want him back.
They were putting him down, but Dave now all of a sudden, he seems to be on a type of bandwagon. On ayahuasca.
I just said that it appears that he might come back.
And then all of a sudden now he's good. I'm just
well, I mean, part of trying to bring him back, I think, was the McCarthy hire.
Yeah, that I think that was the most dominating factor in possibly bringing him back. And if you could bring him back at a reasonable price, I think we only paid like $10 million for him, which I even thought that was too much.
But that's not why they hired McCarthy. I mean, that's just a side benefit.
Yeah. But I think it should be really interesting to see.
So, Dave, you still endorse
what happens?
Endorse Aaron Rodgers. I just want to be clear on this, Dave. You still endorse that?
I would, like, for the right price, I would bring him back for another year. Because they're not going to start Will Howard or Mason Rudolph, who are the only two quarterbacks they have on their contract right now. Yeah. And if it's not Aaron Rodgers, they're going to have to find another veteran quarterback to bring in.
Well, we could always get Derek Carr, but I mean, anyway. Mr.
Cousins, that's possible.
No, Mr. Scott, I have a question that I made especially for you because I know how much you like Take My Talents. So it seems like this year, Take My Talents won't be able to get to the All-Star game because he hasn't played the mandatory 61 games. Mr. Scott, is this the end of the king or what?
Oh no! I mean, this guy is bionic. I mean, it's really, he's gonna take my talents. He's got the league, on a where he can everybody's gonna want him. He hasn't showed any signs that he doesn't want to play anymore. He hasn't showed any signs like that. Could he go back to Cleveland? Yeah, they would take him. He could go back home and finish there. He could go there.
He could, do the Dwight Howard and go overseas and, do whatever.
I don't see that. That one, I don't see that. Guys. But, knowing him, that because he wants to keep playing, if that's the only option, he just might do that.
I think he would. I got to jump out, guys. Always fun hanging out.
Give us your final thoughts there, Bo.
Let's run
it back. You can rub it in if you want. It's okay.
I'm going to follow Bo. I'm going to follow Bo out the door, James, by the way.
Yeah, we're all getting ready to follow Bo out the door. Don't worry. So go ahead, Bo.
He's gone. He didn't want to hear the smoke. He's gone. So he's.
Well, I'll head out. I can give my final thoughts. Okay, I wish Reggie were here.
I do too.
And I wish Bill were here. So and I got.
Where's Demetrius?
I don't know where Demetrius has been.
Well, you didn't you guys remember? Demetrius has a benign thing in his throat, and getting ready. He's right now. He's doing chemo.
Oh my
He'll
goodness.
he'll be having his operation soon. I thought I had notified everybody. I'm
No,
sorry.
I didn't. I'm sorry about that.
Godspeed. You had mentioned that before. Godspeed to Demetrius.
Yeah.
By the way. Godspeed.
I co-signed it.
So my final thoughts, I'm going to give 5 names. Ray Kemp, Lowell Perry, Lionel Taylor, Tony Dungy, and Mike Tomlin. Ray Kemp was the first African-American player for the Steelers. And when he played, there was only one other black player in the NFL. That was Joe Lillard from the Cardinals. And Ray Kemp had played for Duquesne before coming in. He had played for Rooney on his semi-pro team. Before, that's how he came into the Steelers, because he had played for Rooney before. Lowell Perry was the first African-American assistant coach in the NFL that Art Rooney hired after he had a huge injury his rookie season. This was back in like 1956 or 1957, but this is he was the first African-American assistant coach in the NFL. Lionel Taylor was a Steelers receiver coach hired by Chuck Noll, who went on to become the first African-American offensive coordinator in the NFL. But he did that with the Rams. Tony Dungy, he's a Steelers player and position coach, and he was the first African-American to become a defensive coordinator. He was also the youngest at the time at 28 to become a defensive coordinator in the NFL. Now, Mike Tomlin was hired by Art Rooney II. He doesn't have any first. But these 5 had 2 things in common, in addition to the obvious. They were all Pittsburgh Steelers, and none of them were hired because of the color of their skin. The reason that the Rooneys hired them was because of their exceptional skills. And I think that's the way I want to remember these 5 guys. Not because they were the first of something, but because they were all 5 of these guys exceptionally talented.
You know, and Dungy and Tomlin had worked for Denny Green. And, you know, Dungy was the quarterback for the University of Minnesota. When I was coming up, he was the quarterback. And there's a really good picture of him in my dad's first book on the black community. So he was here as a quarterback, and he left here and went to Pittsburgh, made it, and played defensive back, which I said I couldn't understand it. He was a quarterback here, and he goes there and he plays defense. I mean, wow. Yeah, he's one of my favorite guys. He'll always be one of my – and Tomlin, too, because he worked for Denny here, too. And he left here, and I think he went right to Pittsburgh.
He was a defensive coordinator. No, it wasn't Denny Green, though, that was the head coach. It was
but he was a coach here. He coached here.
Tomlin was they hired him. He was a defensive coordinator, and they hired him from Minnesota. But I forget who the head coach was.
Okay.
They kind of endorsed Tomlin for the position. So, but Lowell Perry, I don't know if you're familiar with him. Amazing story. What happened to him was he was a rookie phenom. I think that he was from Michigan, I want to say. And he was roommates with who was the deep-voiced actor? Well, I can't think of his name. Wonderful actor with a very, very deep, booming voice. But they were both ROTC. They had to go into the military before they reported to.
Well, not Bernie Casey.
No,
that was.
No, you would recognize the name. You see him on commercials, movies, all that. But Lowell Perry, he came. And he was having a remarkable season, rookie season. They were thinking he was going to be rookie of the year. And then I think it was against the Giants. Rosie Greer, I think, was involved. He got tackled by like 3 guys. Compound fracture of his thigh, dislocated hip. He was in a hospital for 2 or 3 months, couldn't walk. And Rooney said, we're going to make you they recognized he was a very bright guy. So he says, we're going to make you a coach as soon as you're up and going around. So that's how he became the assistant coach for the Steelers. He was going to law school, and then he went back home to Michigan. Rooney gave him a job as an area scout in Michigan so that he would have money while he went to law school there. He graduates from law school. He goes to work for the car industry, did all kinds of firsts there, went into announcing, and then he was made the EEOC director by President Nixon. And then he helped. There's NFL grants, where they do all the things. Lowell Perry was one of the originators of that. His story is amazing.
I
And
have
that's,
to
and to
look
me,
it up.
that's so special. All of these guys have really unique stories, and they're just exceptional human beings.
Did you say Lowell Perry or Lionel Perry?
Lowell Perry. There's Lionel Taylor, who was the receivers coach that Chuck Noll hired.
Right,
Okay.
right. I remember
But
that.
Lowell Perry he played in 1957, I would say.
Okay. All right.
So, hey, many thanks, and we'll see you guys next week.
Okay. Make sure to tell Sue I said happy birthday and many more.
Absolutely. Take care, Anthony. Take
All right,
care,
good
James.
to see you. Good to see you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, Mr. Scott, you want to talk about your Minnesota season before we get to your final thoughts or what?
No. I want to talk about this ice between me and you. I want to talk about this ice bullshit. I don't know if you got a few minutes now or you got to sign off.
Well, hold on. Let's do this first. Let's give me your final thoughts, and then me and you will have some final thoughts. How's that?
Yeah, no, my final thoughts are, it was a good football season, and I have been keeping my eye on an old friend that I met when I went to college in Mankato, and the Vikings trained. They trained right next door. We all lived in the dorm, and I used to party with Carl Eller and Jim Marshall and Charlie West and Ursula McBee but I never partied with Alan Page. He never, I would see him at the, practicing, but I never saw him. He never came to the clubs or any of that stuff. He was working on his law degree.
Big boy. He was a big boy.
He was working on his law degree, and he was he was a great player. The Vikings, that defensive line was just awesome. But
yeah, Purple People Leaders, right? The Purple People Leaders.
Purple People Leaders, yeah. And Carl, he still lives on the north side of Minneapolis. He's moving a little slow now, but I saw him at a Timberwolves game not too long ago, and I think about that, the wear and tear, but he's still. He is still going, Carl Eller. And my dad always said the two best defensive end was Carl Eller and Deacon Jones. He said them two was the best that ever did it, So I have to go with that, since my dad said
it. All right, Mr. Scott. Well, we're going to close off the air tonight, and appreciate you coming here. So
all right.
let's